Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there and a welcome. Good morning to you. I was going to say happy Monday because it feels like a Monday, but I guess it's Tuesday. It's also the last day of May 2022. And I think my sister's on the line. Suze, are you there?
Yes, because I actually knew what day it was, which is,
Good.
so that's an improvement for me.
Yeah. Well, it is. It does feel like Monday.
Well, and I mean, it didn't help that I opened the front door and the New York Times Sunday paper was sitting there.
That would mix you up. That would definitely be confusing. Well, I don't know why I feel like I haven't done the show in like years, because that's what it feels like today. And I'm looking at all this stuff, and time has become so bizarre in my head, in that the shooting in Texas, was that a week ago now?
That was a Tuesday, yes.
It was a week ago.
It was exactly a week ago, and someplace I read that Americans get over these things in 4 days.
4 days. I saw that too. 4 days. Okay. So it seemed like, oh my God, I don't think America's gotten over this one in 4 days.
No, and by the way, there's been 15 more mass shootings since.
Yeah.
That's shootings of 4 or more, not including the shooter.
That is correct.
15 more this weekend. This weekend, guys.
This weekend, yeah, let's be clear. How many more did you say? 14?
15. The headline said 12, but as you got down into the article, it was already up to 15.
Yeah, I saw that in the Washington Post. Unbelievable. And
then Canada's, I mean, I don't know if you watched Trudeau and what he said, but he said, we banned AR-15s and other rapid firing rifles, and it didn't do any good. So we're now banning all sales transfers, no new guns. That's it. It's done.
That's gone. Right. And
I mean, there's still a whole country full of guns there, but they can't be swapped, sold, and it won't stop all of that. But boy, is it a step. Just taking a step to remind people that no right in this country is unfettered. No right is unfettered. And if you want to see proof of that, watch what they do with your voting rights.
Well, Suze, you certainly got up to all spit and fire. Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to add some numbers to what you were saying.
Okay, go for it.
With Trudeau in Canada taking such, responding immediately to this, as you saw in other countries. This is what other countries that are not in some strange...
to be clear, they don't have a line in their constitutions
yeah, but that line has been
so misinterpreted. How that whole part about a militia has been dropped out, I don't get. Every man standing, every woman standing in this country is not part of a militia. And until I see them going off for weekends and training on behalf of our country, then it doesn't count.
The other thing that's never acknowledged anymore is that the Founding Fathers, even putting that damn thing in, did say there was an adjective, a well-regulated militia. That's right there in the Constitution. Regulated. Well-regulated. Which obviously suggests...
Well, we don't allow individuals to own nuclear bombs or fire throwers or, Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't either. They're less lethal.
Okay. What'd you say? Less lethal?
Mm-hmm. Less lethal. I did it without even having a problem doing that. Less lethal.
No. Oh, I thought I heard less lethal. Is what I heard. You said less lethal?
Yeah, less lethal.
Okay. All right. Say it 3 times fast.
Less lethal,
Anyway.
less lethal, less lethal.
Right? Sue's tongue's working today. I just want to say that, Canada is not the United States. Obviously, Canada has a much smaller population. Canada does not have a Second Amendment.
No, Canada has a prime minister that heads a party and can put in legislation himself.
Will you let me finish a sentence?
No.
Jesus Christ. God. All right, hang on. Canada, here are the numbers I wanted to put in. Per 100 Canadians, there are, give or take, 35 firearms per 100 Canadians, okay? Well, we know the United States per 100 is going to be over 100 because we got more guns. They've got 35 per 100. We have
35% of the population corresponds to their gun. Okay.
And the United States has 120 firearms per 100 people.
Per
125 people. Firearms per 100 people.
Right, and somebody has all of mine.
Well, oh yeah, I mean, obviously. So what's interesting is when the Canadian government responds to the carnage in the United States, while our government, of course, does not respond. He says, Trudeau said, I'll quote, as a government, as a society, we have a responsibility to act. Well, yes, I would agree with that. But that is not what happens in this country. He goes on to make clear, we need only look south of the border. And while when we think south of the border, we think Mexico.
Well, first of all,
south of the border, Canadian south of the border, they're talking about the United States.
Right. They're looking down on us, folks. Right.
In more ways than one. So he is saying, you look south of our border, and then you see what happens if a government does not take action firmly, rapidly. It gets worse.
Well, I disagree with that, though. I disagree.
Worse.
We did take action. We loosened gun restrictions. That is the action we took. From Columbine to now, we have repeatedly loosened gun restrictions. Right. So do not say we didn't take action. We did. We doubled down.
Yeah, we are insane. There is no doubt about it. And
then I hear all this stuff about safe schools, Lynn, safe schools. I just want to make one thing clear to every single human being out there. There is no such thing. 20 years ago, when we sat with the FBI and we sat with the police and we sat with security experts and we reviewed everything and came up with our security plan, the bottom line that we were told is nothing works. Those locked doors from the inside don't work because people prop them open. What happened in Uvalde?
That's exactly what happened.
That's what happened.
No, there's never security.
Anybody that wants to shoot up your school can shoot up their school. That's not the solution. The solution isn't within the schools. The solution is in a reasonable gun policy. There's only one problem. It's guns. It's not mental health. It's not unsafe schools. It's guns. And the mere fact that people can't say that. How can they not say that?
It's not people can't say it. It's gun nuts can't say it.
Okay, they have people now.
All right. Well, I don't recognize them.
Lizards. Okay.
You know, we did act once. There was a ban on assault weapons in this country.
We allowed it to...
From 94. Susan, let me finish a sentence. 94 to 2004. We had a weapons ban for 10 years, assault weapons. The number of mass shootings during that period went down by 43%. Okay? Didn't end it, but went down by 43%. The minute the Republicans got back in power and got rid of the assault ban, weapons ban, mass shootings tripled. So legislation, regulation, a regulation like people should not be allowed to own an AR-15 or any other assault weapon. And that is not, we've gotten so off the reservation that is now a tenable. The odds are that is, in this current Congress, that cannot pass. And from what we understand of what's going to happen in the midterms when the American public elects more Republicans, it's definitely not going to stand, and we'll probably do what we do after all these mass shootings. We'll make guns even more available. We'll have them in your Post Toasties boxes as gifts. They'll be handed out as the present in a McDonald's Happy Meal. That's where we're heading. Somebody suggested this. What do you think about this, Susan?
What? I suggest lowering the age to 13. The age of manhood in the Jewish religion, and instead of a fountain pen, we'll just give them all AR-15s.
That's right. Now you are a man. You now have a gun. Here's what somebody said on Twitter. Does this make sense? Regulate the industry, not the user. See, we go after the gun owner. Regulate the industry, not the user. We did not go after the tobacco industry by arresting people for smoking cigarettes. We sued the companies and taxed their products.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense? So
yeah, but how are you going to get Republicans to agree?
Well, you can't. No, of course, Republicans won't go for that either.
But that's absolutely right.
They only go after industries that, like Disney World.
But that's what the Sandy Hook parents have been doing. They've been suing them. And they have been successfully suing them.
Well, yes.
No, they won. I mean, they
time.
I don't care. It's 20 years. You bet it was a long time, but they kept at it and they did it. So there are ways to make it more difficult for this, but you have to get the funding. You have to, a 20-year lawsuit costs a lot of money.
Yeah. Roger wants to know, Susan, how much coffee did Susan drink this morning?
Oh, I'm just finishing my first cup, and I'm sort of upset because I'm stuck upstairs on a wired phone and I can't get another one.
Well, you don't need another one, I think is the suggestion.
No, I'm just righteously exercised. I really am. I've been this way for days because I'm not one of those people that's over it in 4 days.
Uh-huh.
And the combination of the atrocities, the waking up every single morning and having yet another thing that is even more horrifying than the one preceding.
It's life in America. If you can't take it, hey, either love it or leave it. You can't take life in America with a horror every 25 minutes. Then get the fuck out, okay? Henry writes this. Over the weekend, my daughter and I went to a movie theater to see a movie. Henry, that part was not necessary.
That's like two twins, but we got it.
This was the first theater I've attended since the start of the pandemic. We were there with approximately 50 others to see the movie. It wasn't until the movie was over and we were headed home did my daughter admit to me that she scrutinized every person that walked into that movie looking for maybe a shooter. Her admittance didn't surprise me because I did exactly the same thing. It sucks that this occurred to both of us separately.
And that I'm glad they shared their anxiety eventually, That was helpful.
Well, I mean, and then after you determined there were no shooters in the theater, did you then
look
start
for masks?
Scrutinizing people for masks?
And coughs and sneezes?
Yeah.
Which always made me uneasy, but
Yes, America, where you take your life into your hands by going to school, where you take your life in your hands by going to a movie,
or the grocery store, or the synagogue or church. What does that leave?
Yes, go to church and be blown.
Also any mall. So don't go shopping, don't eat, don't educate yourself. Don't go to concerts. Don't go to movie theaters. So let's just be clear that it can happen to you. It can happen where we are, where each of us is. It can happen anywhere, anytime, any place, because that is the policy of our country. That the people who want guns, their right to have them and to disseminate them as thickly and profusely as they can around the country, is far more important than whether any one of us or any one of our children or our parents lives to see another day. Collateral damage, big deal, shrug your shoulders, and we just pretended to be thinking and praying.
No, our culture now believes in child sacrifice.
We do.
More than a belief. Right. Well, look, it's collateral that we got some kids are going to be blown to pieces at school.
That's just the way it is, because we have our rights.
Because I want my assault weapon. Okay, so more children, this is amazing, more children in this country die by gunfire in a year than on-duty cops and active military.
At least they ungagged doctors so they can ask if there's a gun in the home. And pediatricians now routinely ask if there's a gun in the home to warn parents
that's state by state.
That is the number one unhealthiest thing to do.
Isn't that state by state?
Probably. I'm sure in Missouri you don't have the right to say that.
It's against the law. No, doctors can't. I think in an awful lot of states cannot.
Well, we're forbidden to do research into whether guns are deadly or not.
That's right. Now, I just want to say for anybody here who wants to, be seen and heard on this, there is a protest today at 4:00 this afternoon in front of Senator Toomey's office here in Pittsburgh. And speaking at that will be David Hogg, who you probably know as one of the survivors of the Parkland massacre, who has become a major gun regulation person. David Hogg will be there to speak. 4 p.m., 301 Grant Street. If you want to, that's taking some action. That's showing up if you want to. 4 p.m., 301 Grant. Okay? I just wanted to get that in because I think that happened sort of unexpectedly.
He's a very booked young man. I watched him being interviewed by, I think it was Lawrence O'Donnell last night. And O'Donnell said, will you be here, on the week from tonight when they blah, blah, blah. And the kid just looked at me and said, you'll have to speak to my schedulers. And there's
a big march planned in D.C. on the weekend of I'm not sure, 11th and 12th. I'm not sure exactly what day. Called March for Our Lives. Goes to March for Life, which is the anti-abortion march. Hey, I wanted, for those of you here in Pennsylvania who want to know a little more about the Republican nominee for governor of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, wait.
Doug Mastriano. I mean, I know a lot about him, but I just heard something else, which is just mind-blowing. He is not only, I mean, he's just flat out Christian nationalist, crazy person.
He's a piece of work.
He was at the January 6th,
the insurrection, yes.
The Capitol, January 6th. He was willing to give up our votes to keep Donald Trump in office. He is tight with, remember the Reverend Moon, Sun Young Moon?
Oh, yeah, Moonies.
Yeah. The Moonies. Well, there's a lot of Mooney kids, and one of Sun Young Moon's kids is now following in his father's footsteps, and he has a church. And his church believes that heaven, well, I will quote him. We believe that the kingdom of heaven is a kingdom of armed citizens. You can't make
Sounds heavenly.
You can't make this up. Well, that's heaven to some people. And it says the gun represents strength. Peace through strength. If you have a gun, self-defense, the criminal will back off. If you don't have a gun, a predator comes in and ravishes you or us as a nation. This nutcase has his church, which is called Rod of Iron. And guess who he's tight with? Mastriano. Yeah, this is where Mastriano's coming from.
Yeah, you got a pretty terrifying political outlook there in Pennsylvania these days. Have we? Where's His Eminence Dr. Oz?
Well, that's
are we recounting?
We're recounting. It's gone very quiet. I'm sure it's now just lawyers and lawyers and lawyers and this and that and poor souls who are counting. I know the way they're counting is they've got I mean, it's just really amazing. Whatever count they come up with, all hell's going to break loose, right?
Well, of course.
It's still going to be extraordinarily close. I don't know. I think Oz is the easier candidate to beat, but I don't know. I don't think anybody knows anymore.
Well, I just it's buying Fetterman some time to recover.
Well, it'll be interesting in the general election if Fetterman, how it'll just be interesting to see. God.
Yeah, it's also anxiety provoking because elections were always, and back in the day, I've cared and I thought it was very important who won, but now it really seems like a matter of survival.
Yeah,
over and over again, and it's
I know. Hey, so somebody went after the Mona Lisa again.
I know they put cake on it. I don't understand.
Well, I know. So you tell me why it would occur to anybody. I'm gonna
as an environmentalist.
As an old lady, I'm an environmentalist. I want to save the earth. I will dress up as an old lady. I'll sit in a wheelchair. I got this cake with me here, and I'm going to wheel up to the Mona Lisa and throw cake on her. Now,
because that'll really make people care about the environment.
Yeah. Well, I guess the feeling is it will get attention. Then they'll say, "Why did you do that?" And then I will tell them. Now, here's what I want to say. Is it occurred to me, anytime the Mona Lisa comes up, I sort of have the same reaction, but I never say it.
Who
I think
cares?
I have said it once. I don't get it.
Who cares? It's a painting of this woman.
Yeah, but I don't get it. Why is that painting considered like the greatest painting ever? I've seen it. It's
this little painting of a woman with a.
It's a tiny little painting of a what I've always thought of as an extremely unattractive woman.
Exactly. She's not even pretty. She's not quite smiling.
Well, now why? How sexist? What? Only pretty women should have their.
No. I didn't. I thought the pretty woman in old masters is very rare by modern standards.
Well, they're always heavier and stuff like that.
They always sort of just look like regular women.
Yeah, but whatever. I just never got it. The Mona Lisa.
No, I didn't.
And when I did see it, and I'm sure I'm one of millions who you finally, get to Paris, you go to the Louvre, there it is. You got to see the Mona Lisa, and you're stunned at how small it is.
Right.
Because it's just this little. It's little.
It's little and dark and not very interesting. And my favorite was watching, in my case, a bunch of Japanese tourists with movie cameras. It was back before iPhones, and with a movie camera. Yeah, and I'm thinking, what is he waiting for? For her to start laughing? I don't get it. No, I've never understood. I mean, I'll take other people's words for it, but I don't.
I know if art people can tell you why, but on the other hand, I think it's a little over.
No, I react emotionally far more to other paintings.
Oh yeah, the Mona Lisa,
her in a room with water lilies.
Smile. Yeah, whatever. I don't get it. You can throw cake at it. I don't care. I mean, she's protected.
Yeah, she's under glass, so what's going to do anything anyway?
I know.
She's in a big plexiglass box.
Yeah.
Because people like that woman come along and throw shit at her.
Yeah. So I went to visit my brother in Ann Arbor this weekend, and he was cleaning out. He's finally retired, sort of, from the University of Michigan Law School, and so he had to give up his nice big office, law school, for some other guy who's teaching. But they gave him a little office someplace else. And so in having to downsize and move stuff, he's coming up with, and he's throwing things out willy-nilly, which worries me because I think you should, hold on.
Well, he's somebody that maybe should keep some of his archives.
I know. Right, exactly. But he's of the opinion, if I didn't miss it in the last 30 years, why the hell would it be valuable now? But it's also because it's so much work to look through all the crap. Anyway, he did save 2 bumper stickers he came upon. Yes, I'm going to share those with you now.
I just think it's amusing that he ever owned bumper stickers.
Well, someone must have given them to him because he has not. I mean, it's not like he's got put on anything.
Right.
But so he got rid of these 2. He saved those 2, and then what happened? I took them. So now I've got the 2 bumper stickers. One man's garbage is another man's treasure. One, it has Uncle Sam pointing at you, and it says, "Join the army, travel to exotic, distant lands, meet exciting, unusual people, and kill them."
That's a lot of words on a bumper sticker.
It is a lot of words on a bumper sticker.
You got to be very close at a long red light to get all of that in.
Well, that's that was one, and the other was drive carefully. 90% of all people are caused by accidents.
My favorite bumper sticker is still the one that said "old fart," and then when you got close to the car and you saw who was driving it, it was this very old man with a beak nose and white hair, popping out all over. Just an old fart.
Yeah, well, there. Truth in packaging. Oh, God. Yeah.
So why did you take them?
Well, my initial reaction was, I think of them as artifacts. It just reminded me of a time, so now I have them. I got buttons and, I'll stick them somewhere, and then, when I
are you going to tell them?
My kid will throw them out.
I think you should share your rescue mission and why you actually went.
Oh, that's right. Oh, thank you. So the last time I talked to you guys, I admitted that I had given up this marvelous puppet that had been made by Margot Lovelace, whose obituary got me thinking about what I had done. It was a Winnie the Pooh puppet. And I had given it away to my brother's daughter and her little kid. And I realized almost immediately after I gave it away that I wanted it back. That's an awful thing, to give something away and then realize, wait a minute, no, I want it.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you. Now you know how I felt when I was 6 and I gave you my favorite necklace for your birthday.
Yes, that's true.
And then announced that I wanted it back.
Yeah, you asked for it back like within seconds. Okay, now give it back. You just didn't understand the whole concept thing. Right. Now I understood it, which is why I thought, well, you did it and too bad for you. It's gone. But Jonathan called, as many of you know, and said, no, get it. Go back. Tell him you need it back. You gotta, So I don't know if it was all of that made me, right after the show, I texted my brother and said, hey, are you guys there for the weekend? Could I drop in? And yeah. So I actually went, yes, on a Pooh rescue mission. And I just want to say it was successful, and Pooh is now sitting back where he's supposed to be.
Right.
He's upstairs. He looks a little freaked.
The rescue of Pooh.
And it turns out he needed to be rescued because you know where he was? He'd been relegated to basement.
I know. It's like a scene out of Toy Story.
I know. So I got him back. Thank God, and thank you for telling me to do it. And racing back home on Sunday, I got caught by a motorcycle cop, which was astonishing to me because I have not been caught speeding in decades. And I've really thought I'm impervious or I'm just brilliant. I'm so aware. I'm scanning the horizon at all times. I see all cop cars. I know exactly when to hit the brakes. I know when I can. Yeah, well, motorcycle cop got me. So after the show today, I have to call the Ohio State Highway Patrol. And they're going to tell me how much I'm going to have to.
It's not on the ticket.
No, it's not on the ticket. It says that you have to call to find out what.
Jeez, that gives you time. That gives them time to Google you and decide.
Oh, what if you're good for a life? Well,
or if they want, or if they might come up with Lynn Cullen. She's a liberal loudmouth and slap an extra $500 on you. Huh.
It was weird. The cop. Here, this is a story of an old white woman stopped by a white cop. Was my heart pounding when I saw this cop approaching the window? No. First of all, he shocked me because he came up on the passenger side.
On the highway, they do that. Safer.
Well, I guess that does make sense, so he won't get killed. Right.
Right.
But anyway, he treated me so nicely. It was ludicrous. He even said, I'll make this as quick as I can. I know you want to be on your way because you're speeding 100 million miles an hour. Why? Yeah, right. And when he asked me at the end, he said, "Do you have any questions?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Why do they make cars that go so fast and you don't feel like you're going fast? And why would they do that if you can't legally go that fast?" And I guess no one had ever asked him that question because he did not have an answer.
Good question, he says to you.
Yeah. He said, "Gee, I don't know. So, yeah. No, I'm lucky.
That's sort of like the checks in the checkbook argument when you keep writing checks but you don't have money and you say, but I still have checks.
But why do they make cars that go so fast? What is the point?
So you can speed.
Well, I mean
it's a free country. You speed and you pay your fine. But there is a consequence.
Well, it was weird because I had a bag of, right there where he stuck his head in, I had a bag full of marijuana. That I bought legally in Michigan.
Right.
I realized I was in a place where I could buy some stuff, and I thought I'll try some stuff that maybe will help me sleep.
Right.
So that's what I did. I got some stuff. And I was thinking, if it's not legal in Ohio, and he saw that, and I just kept thinking, if I were a black man, yada, 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 yada,
yep.
yada.
You're right, though.
If I were a black man, I kept thinking, I got the pot, I got this, I got, really.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. Jeez.
I usually hide the pot when the cop comes.
You know what? I did not. It didn't even occur to me. But the one thing that pissed me off is being pulled over is that, a lot of cars that you zipped by
are laughing at you.
Yeah. They see that I've been caught and they're laughing at me. It serves you right. And that part I didn't like, that humiliation.
Yeah, I know. Well, I this is why I keep saying if you just set the cruise to 79, you are likely.
I can't do it. It makes me too inactive. I can't do it. I can never cede control. Can't. So I've tried. It does not make me feel better. It does not.
Because I am also a speed demon, and it's not to say that I don't accelerate over the set speed, but it turns out that that's actually fairly fast, and it's only since the pandemic that everybody races by me at 79.
Well, now, after I got caught, I did adhere more to the, which is silly, because what are the odds I'd be caught again on the same trip? But I had a son, I still do, that managed to get 3 tickets in one stop, so. In one trip?
Yeah.
You got Jesus, God, that's not good. So anyway, so there was that. Wait, I have something I wanted to talk about, and I don't know what it is.
Well, while you're thinking of that, I have a question. Did you see that the Egyptians uncovered another huge?
Yeah, I did. And I did.
And at some point, isn't it just sort of unseemly to start to just be digging up all of these cemeteries and looting them It's for tourism? Is there some expectation that after 2,000 years it
you'll
doesn't
find
matter?
Something different?
Yeah,
well,
you can desecrate the. I don't know. I'm a little queasy about it.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever happened to rest in peace?
Or desecrating. I mean, desecrating graves, and the among the original peoples, the indigenous peoples, and
right.
We're making great amends to return that sort of stuff, and
right. They're still digging them up. Well, look, I don't know. I have to admit, I mean, to them it might be, this is our historical treasure, and ain't doing any good down there, so let's get it up. But it's not like they're going to sell it. But it's all the mummy, these poor souls who are, I don't know. I'm amazed that they're still finding these. So they're just, well,
there are a lot of people that lived that were buried. They just keep digging up cemeteries.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're doing.
Well, Susan, you should go speak to an archaeologist about it.
No, it was just a thought I had this morning as I was reading and thinking, oh, look at all those, sarcophagi.
I once was in a room with a mummy. I can't remember why, but a mummy, a real Egyptian mummy, had come to Pittsburgh for some reason and was being x-rayed at the hospital. And I, as a reporter, got to go in when they were laying the mummy out on the, to x-ray it. And I remember feeling, I don't know, a measure of awe, but also a sense of, this doesn't seem right. Because that was a person. That was a dead
right. At what point is respect no longer necessary?
And I don't know. Well, that depends. I mean, because there are religions in which it is just outrageously disrespectful to do this. Judaism is one.
Right.
Maybe not so much in others. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. Although I think generally disturbing the dead is not considered a good thing.
No. Grave robbing. I mean, these are all felonies, offenses, but in their case, they do it. It's done by the country. And yes, they see it as their history. But every cemetery is a history of the country.
Well, let's go back from grave robbing to Mona Lisa and Leonardo da Vinci, because the way that he was able and other artists were able to draw and create the art they did, they studied. Yeah. I don't know if he personally robbed graves, but they had to really study musculature and all of that stuff, right? Didn't they?
Yeah. But there's a long history. I can't remember who it is in connection, but it's more than one, of people, both in medicine and other things, that it was advanced through, getting a body, and it was illegal.
Right. But that's before they had the idea that, you could have people donate their bodies. Our Aunt Faye donated hers.
Did she? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she did.
Well, that would have been interesting. Here's what a body looks like when you lie down in your 20s and never stand up again.
Pretty much true. Yeah, she took to her bed as a relative, not in her 20s, in her 30s.
In her 30s.
Took to her bed for reasons that are not particularly clear. She had a bad back. And then lived into her 80s. So, yeah, it would be who knows? Who the hell knows? Oh, God. Okay, I'm starting to... Hey, I got a letter. These are always wonderful. I got a letter from people I don't know. Horizon Actuarial Services.
Yeah? What are they going to do?
Well, no, it says it's a notice of data incident. So it turns out they tell me, I can't believe I even read this. I did. Normally my eyes would cross and I'd throw it out. They told me that last November, my Social Security number and other identifying things might have been acquired in an incident when my union, I mean, who even knew? I mean, I used to belong to a union. After a retirement plan. I got news for you. You know what I'm going to get from the after retirement plan?
Zero.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing.
But meanwhile, they've given out your Social Security number.
Yeah, but meanwhile, it says if I blah 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 blah. So yeah, in the after they got hacked, and it says our investigation determined that the following types of information related to you may have been impacted, and that'd be my Social Security number.
Yeah. Well, so, what are you supposed to do about that?
Oh, they said they'll give me a free year of watching out for me, but I have to enroll in something. So, you know how many times this kind of thing happens, though?
Yeah, it's happened as far as I can remember so far to me about 4 times with, starting with companies like Blue Cross, Blue Shield,
Yeah, right, exactly. Or some credit card you have or whatever. So talk about being safe. There is no security to be had in with your most private information now, and I just don't feel up to doing all the stuff you have to do to supposedly, I don't know. So some bad actors, which is funny since this is AFTRA, the American Federation.
Right.
AFTRA is an acting union. So AFTRA, the bad actors now have my other actors, the good actors, data.
Well, here's the good news. Most actors are penniless, so they can't be really.
That's true. That's true. You say data or data?
I think it depends on the day. I mean, I think I probably data or data. I think I say data.
I think I say them both because I can't make up my mind about that one. Data and data. I made up my mind about tomato and tomato, but not data and data. Or
pronounce the original. Pronounce the singular.
Datum.
Well, if it's datum, then it would be data.
That's what I'm thinking. Or is it datum?
Well, datum sounds really stupid.
Datum. I don't know. A datum sounds better, but I don't have a clue. I don't know. Hey, speaking of words, there was this really, I thought, interesting piece written by a guy whose whole thing is words. He's a linguist, John McWhorter. And he was talking about how this stuff we do, this is the lefty stuff.
It's datum, by the way.
It is datum.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then is it data? Did you look?
I'll tell you in a second.
Okay. So the word police,
nope.
which it's data.
It's data is the preferred, data is the secondary, and with the singular, it's the opposite. Datum. And,
well, I want to lodge a protest about that. That makes no sense.
Well, here's the good news.
Okay.
There's legitimate reason for confusion because both are equally acceptable in varying degrees depending on the number.
Right. Exactly right. So, fuck it. Okay. So, all this word changing stuff where all of a sudden you can't say this and you can't say that. So he took this on and he says, what set him off was he sees now that even on Planned Parenthood's website, they now don't say,
women.
Well, yeah, they say people who are pregnant. People who are pregnant. They don't say women. They don't say pregnant women.
Well, because there are trans men that are pregnant.
That's right. Because there are. Yes, we know that. I know that there are people who identify as women who are still capable of being pregnant.
No, I mean, who identify as men.
As men. Excuse me. Of course. Excuse me for getting mixed up. I can't imagine why I'm mixed up. Okay, so it used to be so easy. Anyway, McWhorter says this: I am certainly not arguing for intolerance toward those who can become pregnant but don't identify as women. I'm saying that even if we're not being forced to use the new terms, the way they are introduced, almost by fiat, can make it seem as if sticking with the old words is a kind of thought crime.
Yep.
And I don't like that.
I don't either.
But he says, but isn't that those on the left, he says that the other thing is that those on the left have some weird, childish, oh no, it isn't that those on the left have some weird, childish urge for control. Rather, they seem to be operating under a very attractive but shaky idea that language channels thought. So they think change how people say things and you change how...
And actual change will follow. Well, they aren't necessarily wrong about that.
Changes. No, that's not... Listen, the linguist says they are. He says that's not how it works. It's not how it works. You can have a slight... It does not work that way. Somebody else called it the euphemism treadmill. And here's what happens. People invent new polite words to refer to emotionally laden words, but the euphemism that they come up with becomes tainted by association. And then a new one must be found, acquiring its own negative. In other words, all you got to do is look at crippled. Oh, right. God, you cannot say crippled. So we had to say handicapped. Oh, no, how long did that last? Handicapped had a pretty good run. And all of a sudden, handicapped takes on all the negative, the things that people think. If they used to look at a person and they'd say, oh, that poor crippled, and they'd say, oh, that poor handicapped person. It didn't change
what you're seeing, and it didn't change the person you're looking at.
That's right. So then we went from handicapped to disabled, and whoa, that was a mistake.
Oh no, now we're differently abled.
Now we're differently abled, and what he says is that these new words do not leave the ideas behind; they merely take them on. And so you end up in this happened with homeless people. I told my son the other day, oh, no, you can't say homeless. That's the new one. You have to say unhoused.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Susan. And so homeless person began as an enlightened replacement for bum or bag lady, right?
Yep.
And now it has been found by some, whoever these people are who decide these things, I don't know. But it is now slowly being replaced by saying someone who is unhoused.
Well, let's get back, however, to the Planned Parenthood refusal to use the word woman. And that does get to me because it seems, like for years they said the last appropriate prejudice was against fat people, right? Well, no, it's against women.
Fat women.
Well, yeah, especially fat women, but women. I mean, how can you just say that the majority of the population is negated by the fact, by the one person that chose to be one of us. And therefore, the rest of us lose our identity as women.
Yeah.
Now, I would argue that they should say women.
I would too.
Because
you know what?
that woman, that trans man, is only there because they have a woman's part. You know, and I'm sorry, that's a fact. That's not an opinion. So that person started life as a woman. That in their head was not the right way to be. They changed it, but they opted to keep their right.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and I think
I, along with the medical journals that are doing that, I'm saying, excuse me, I didn't disappear because trans people became recognized.
Thank you. Yes,
men didn't disappear because women can be men. Women don't disappear because men can be women. We still exist, and I am so tired of being treated as if we don't by everybody.
Well, here's what McWhorter says. He says, so with, these phrases like Planned Parenthood using people who are pregnant or birthing people is another one. He said, you were asked to embrace these terms because thus we are being inclusive, and progressive. But both of those things, people who are pregnant and birthing people, reduce women to
livestock,
to invisibility, or to being mere biological vessels. That's right. So this is why this tinkering doesn't do a damn thing. And he finishes by saying, generating new labels offers instant gratification. It's easier to introduce new terms than to change the way different groups referred to by those terms are really perceived.
That's true.
And in that way, never-ending calls to change the way people talk and write are less an advance than a cop-out. Broadly speaking, leaders and activists of the past put their emphasis on what people did, not on ever finer gradations of how they might have said. Far better to teach people what you think they should think about something and why, instead of classifying the way they express themselves about it as a form of disrespect or backwardness. Change words is not a good tactic for serious.
And if your existence requires that the existence of half the population of the world disappears, I will protest. I'm perfectly happy to let you live your life exactly the way you want, but that doesn't mean that I have to disappear or I lose who I am.
And I'll tell you what else it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that most people in the world will continue to perceive the world according to, a pretty binary, gender binary kind of perception. Don't you think?
Well, I do think, and I do think that into every life come challenges. And, and some of them have gender challenges and some of them have other challenges. But the whole world doesn't change because of your particular challenges. And the job of each human being is to manage to work their way through the world in spite of their challenges to the best of their ability, without expecting that the whole world part the Red Sea so that you are allowed to deal with your challenge.
Very well said, I must say. And with that, we did it.
Cool.
11 o'clock. Although, I got some good news.
What?
Beth has written in Beth is the person who works with all the movies. She's the payroll accountant for a lot of Hollywood films. So
yeah.
She's working with AFTRA and she's getting the actors paid. She knows all about this, and she said, "Hey, Lynn, you only need to worry if you were paid for a job that was paid out by the payroll company, American Payroll and Residuals." And I was not. Cool. They are more a commercial payroll company. If you were never paid by them for a SAG-AFTRA job, you're fine. Ha! Beth, thank you. You saved me. I can tear that up. Some other poor actor.
Well, hey, is your painter there? I have to ask.
Yes.
Well, he was very quiet.
Very, very, very quiet. And he'll be here tomorrow, too, I think. So, there you have it. Thanks, Sue.
Okay, you're welcome. Mom says hi. Okay.
Hi, Mom. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.